Hey guys, what is going on? Sorry for being a little bit absent for a while. There were some complications in my moving process, including being sick and then my audio setup not working, which prevented me from recording videos of any kind for a little bit. And then the unexpected delay of my desk, which is delaying my hobby setup for a little over a week now, unfortunately. But hopefully it's coming soon. Anyway, we're doing something a little bit different today. This is another Color Theory 40K video. The best way to learn color theory for miniature painters? Maybe. I don't know. I've been doing art stuff for a really long time, so you don't have to. That's what I'm going with. Right here today, we are at color.adobe.com because we're talking about the color wheel and its many magical properties and how you can use it and a little bit of knowledge in order to make yourself both a better and more frugal painter. Generally, if you've been to elementary school, you've probably taken at least one art class where they talked about the color wheel. That color wheel is full of lies. Why? I don't know, but I can demonstrate it to you. If we go over here to a triad color scheme, and let's just make this a little bit bigger and easier to see here. Get rid of that cookie notification. We're fine with that. Or let's lighten up the lightness here. All right, so this is your typical color wheel. If you're looking at a color wheel, you should think that the primary colors, which have been described as yellow, blue, and red, would be equidistant from each other in order to form every colors. So let's drag this on over to red here and take a look. We do have red and kind of a blue over here, and a little bit of like a lime green. That doesn't seem right. Yellow is definitely more in this area, but if we try to adjust over to yellow, we can see we have more of like a purple here, got sort of like a turquoise over here. So what is really the story? The story is that red, blue, and yellow are not the three primary colors. First of all, there are two different types of color wheels. One is the additive color wheel, in which the primary colors are red, blue, and green for things like computer screens and other things that emit light. We don't care about that because paint doesn't emit light, it reflects light. So we care about the subtractive color scheme, of which the primary colors are cyan, magenta, and yellow. Dana Howl does a really great breakdown of the CYMK color wheel scheme and how you can utilize it fully, so I'll put a link to that up in that corner, so you can go watch that for a really deep dive into how CYMK, K being black or key, really works, and she does a much better job of doing that much depth than I do today. I don't want to go that deep. I just want to tell you how you can save some money on your paints. Do you need 20 shades of blue? Not really, and I'll show you how you can change that practice. So let's go, let's pick our center color here for better visibility. And we have this nice sort of strong blue. And say this is like you're building some ultramarines. It might be a little bit less saturated than that. It might be something around there for your base coat. And you're like, okay, I got this blue. Great. Now I need to get a shade color for the shading, so I'll get a dark wash, a blue wash, maybe just a darker blue if you want to go for some volumetric lighting, if you're trying to get all advanced and fancy about it. And then I'll get a lighter blue for the highlights. Maybe add a little bit of a warmer color in there. Maybe it'll be like a lighter purple, or maybe it'll be more of a lighter teal if you want to go cooler. Do you really need to do that? Here's what you can do, is you can take the black paint that you already have and just add a little bit of black, and you can see the color getting darker almost by magic. It's not magic, that's just the property of colors. You add black to things, they get darker. And that's the first way you can change a color around, by adding successive amounts of either black for darker colors, white for lighter colors, or gray. You can affect the saturation, darkness, and lightness of any single color to an extremely precise degree if you just mix them together. It is important to note that you'll definitely want to be using dropper bottle paints for this method, since it's a lot easier to mix them precisely. 1, 2, 3 drops of blue plus 1 drop of white plus a drop of gray, and there's your color. That's all you need to do, and you can write that down, and you can get very close to the exact same thing almost every time you try it. If you're using GW, Citadel paints, it's a lot harder to do that unless you have like a pipette or something to get those really consistent color recipes. Would definitely recommend something like Vallejo paints. I've bought a starter set of Vallejo paints, and they're almost the only normal color sets that I've bought ever for my entire army. The other thing you can do is you can affect the hue of colors by using this knowledge of cyan, yellow, and magenta. So if you got this blue, as again, just straight up blue, and you want to make it a little bit warmer, either you could straight up add, red or orange, or if you want to have a more of a subtle effect, you can add a little bit of purple, and you'll just begin to pull the wheel in this direction. And if you pull it enough, you'll start getting into purples. That is, with more drops of those other colors, it'll pull stronger in those directions. If you want a subtler effect, just add in more blue if you overdo it. It's, doesn't need to be a precise science that you get 100% right every time. There's a lot of wiggle room by just adding more of whichever color. If you want to get really wild and you want to add colors at the opposite side, scientifically, what's supposed to happen is it trends towards kind of a gray. What I find actually happens is, this is additive colors right now, so that's not really going to work. If we put it in CYMK, it might be a little bit better. Not really. This is not really built to support that. It's going to kind of turn into a black-brown mess, because it's not going to be precisely everything that it needs to be. But, for example, you've seen some of my death dudes before. I might put them on the screen briefly here. But the only colors I use are orange for their armor and blue for the bases. Everything else is handled by various amounts of white, black, and gray. These are really the things that are going to control what your colors end up looking like. So, now that you've bought good white, good black, good gray paints, what are you going to spend your money on? In like whatever color or a couple of colors that you're using. If you just get a starter set, you're 90% of the way there in the colors that you'll need, probably. So what do you spend your painting money on? You got a budget, probably, right? You get to spend it on all of the fun stuff, like weathering effects, streaking grime, engine oil. You got things like better metallic paints, liquid gold, technical paints, blood for the blood god, one of the Citadel paints that I do actually like to use. Pigments. You got pigments. These are just all things that you can't really reproduce via normal paints, and it just is a lot more cost effective to go out and buy these specialized products than try and mix a color that emulates these effects, which you'll almost certainly be unable to do because the chemical makeup of these paints is actually different. We got stuff like verdigris, which is a really nice kind of effect. These sort of like pigments and inks and other ones that I use a lot are fluorescent paints, which are chemically formulated to just be brighter and more vibrant than your standard acrylic paint. These things are very useful to have because it's not something you can do by just mixing paints. Other things are like there's exceptions to the rule. If you have an army and you're like 80% of this army's color scheme is going to be purple, check out my last video on color theory if you want to see why that might be a good idea. You might just want to grab a good purple paint. I picked this one up for my Necromunda guys because I'm pretty sure they're going to be mostly purple. Another exception is I picked up this set of skin tones because skin tones are very varied, they're very subtle, and it's very hard to mix a convincing skin tone with just the couple of basic colors that doesn't look kind of dead or like decaying or more than a handful of varieties. So having a set of skin tones can be useful to build both a diverse series of people and to have more accurate, more true to life skin. Because skin is transparent and it is many colors. There's blues, there's yellows, there's greens, there's reds. All of that is contained in your skin tone. And getting the balance of that right when you're mixing your own paints is an extremely difficult thing to do. But you can also just buy it. And I think that's fine. So if you do have those sort of like main colors for your army, those sort of staple colors, absolutely, you know, go out and buy some solid versions of those colors. It'll save you a lot of time and effort doing that than it would to just be mixing up the same dose every single time for large portions of your army. However, if you're just looking for like an accent color or something like that, what if you just took some red and added some yellow to it and then, you know, mix those together and, you know, lighten it up with some white? Then you got this nice sort of like orangey yellow thing going on, white to pick up those tones, and boom, you got an accent color right there. It's not science. It's not difficult. You just got to put paints together, just try things out, and you'll come up with something cool, probably. A good way to know that you'll come up with something cool is to look at a color wheel like this one. You can just look at it and see what colors are near other colors, because those are the best results you'll get by mixing paints. If you try to mix, you know, the purple and the green, you're gonna have a bad time. Magenta and green not really gonna work together too well for you. If you're trying to mix together, you know, let's go to complementary colors here. If you try to mix together complementary colors, it's not going to work out too well. If you go to split complementary, same deal. If you try to mix red and cyan, it's if you have them together in a scheme, that's fine. If you physically try to mix these paints, it's not going to end up looking too well because there's too much space in between these two colors, which just leads to really kind of imprecise mixing. It's so easy, guys. You just take two paints and you put them together. And as long as they're relatively close to each other on the color wheel, it should work fine. You know, you can generally mix paints to the degree of like yellow to magenta if we're talking pure CYMK. If you didn't watch that Dana Howl video, you should. But that is kind of the limit of where you'll see utility, is sort of this, you know, 1/3 of the color wheel, 1/3 of the pie here. That is where you're going to see diminishing returns and a lot of complications arising from trying to mix beyond that color when you're mixing your own colors. But that's plenty of wiggle room for just getting a starter set and just getting a couple of basic colors. You know, if you want to go pure CYMK, you could just get magenta, cyan, and yellow paints and kind of go from there, because that's technically all you need in order to produce any hue in the entire world, even more than that can be displayed on a computer screen, and then just add different amounts of black, white, or gray to alter that color into precisely what you need. I don't think that's worth it. That's a little bit overboard in my opinion, but it is possible. So a little bit of a longer video today, because honestly, color theory can get really in the weeds about things. It can be a little bit imposing sometimes, but ultimately it is important to know, which is why I'm telling you about this, so you guys can save money. I'll probably be doing another color theory video for next week, and hopefully soon I'll be able to do a hobby station reveal, which I'm really pumped about because it's going to be sick. I got a lot of stuff for the station already. I just don't have the actual station itself, unfortunately. So hopefully that comes soon and I can get everything set up and show it off to you guys, because I'm really pumped for it. I planned out a bunch of stuff, and there's even more to come after that. Look forward to that one. You know, subscribe to the channel so you make sure you don't miss it. Who doesn't love a good flex? I know I do. Anyway, if you found this video helpful at all, please leave a like. It really helps me out. And that's it. I already asked you to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.